Oh my gosh, I can't believe I started off the first day of 2026 burning my sweet potato. Happy New Year. We're going to talk about goal setting. Not just your normal goal setting video, how to actually surpass your ceilings this year. And I've learned how to surpass my own ceiling in my fitness journey. And I want to share how exactly I did it. I did a 15-minute plank challenge and it completely blew my mind about how our mind sometimes limits ourselves and sometimes how uh, our mind can also expand in a way that allows us to achieve our goals. So, how did I manage to hold a 15-minute plank? Well, I'm so excited. So, tip number one, uh, don't set boring goals. Yeah. Imagine if I told myself that 2 minutes was the max that I can do for planks. Well, then the whole year I would probably just manage to do 2 minutes and stay consistent. I mean, consistency is a good thing, but um, that that goal does not excite me that much. If I think about like staying the same in my fitness journey or like my career goals, the thought of staying the same just does not excite me that much. This is something that I had done at the beginning of my fitness journey, and this is what has really helped me. So, um, before I even sort of thought about doing a 15-minute plank, I assessed my baseline. Um, what does it mean? So, assessing my baseline, like how much do I think I can do right now at my current stage, and what can I actually do? So, uh, this was when my mind was first sort of blown away by how much my body can handle things that I thought I couldn't handle. So I was like, okay, like I can do 30 seconds, probably will max out by then. But when I actually did it, I got out a timer and I was like, not a timer, a stopwatch. And I just hit start and I shut down my phone and I just held that plank position for as long as I could until like my body just like was like, no, you're gonna shut down. Until it was like I can't do it anymore, right? I came to a minute and 45 seconds. I watched my body become so capable of doing many hard things that it's like my mind thought I can only do 30 seconds, but my body has another language. My body knows how much it's knows what it's capable of doing. So I don't have to ask my mind for instructions on how to do something. I just ask my body, like, go down only when you you can't hold a plank anymore. That's when you go down. And I looked at it. I was like, a minute and 45 seconds. That's when my mind was first blown away. But I did not give up there. I assessed my baseline, and my baseline was a minute and 45 seconds. So I was like, this is my new normal. This is my new normal. I'm not gonna set the standard below that number. I think that what I did was I sort of 10x'd my goal at that moment, even without having read the 10x rule. Across my mind that this was the result of 10xing what you thought you could achieve. Like 1.5 minutes, you times that by 10 and it's like basically 15 minutes. And I was like blown away. So what could you do in your life to 10x your goals and your results? And that is going to spark such an identity shift because who is that person to do a 15-minute plank? It's sort of like your goal is feels enticing and feels almost seductive. That is that is the key, and that is the gold I want you to grab onto. The vocabulary they use cannot, impossible. These are the words that are so integrated into their beliefs, and sometimes the beliefs can become sort of like their personality. I sort of looked at a group of people who were doing planks, and a huge chunk of them was like 5 minutes. This is impossible. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we setting such a high standard, high bar for ourselves? I feel like the words would sort of just like bounce off me. It's not possible. It's not possible for them. So naturally, I switch my vocabulary. Cannot becomes a can, and becomes how can I set a higher bar, a higher standard? Because I already know 2 minutes to 5 minutes. It's not that hard. It's not that hard if you've been sort of going at it for a couple days, a couple weeks. And it's like those early days are sort of like that period of growth. And I just love it because it challenges your mind to believe that you can do new things. You can do crazy things. So in your own health and fitness journey, are you using the words I cannot? So many areas of our lives where we just limit ourselves. We stretch ourselves, but only to a certain capacity. We shut off all possibilities. The third thing I want to talk about is sometimes we can equate a higher pain tolerance to greater suffering somehow. I have been a victim of this, sadly, sort of an activity. Let's say, like, it might not be holding a plank necessarily, but let's say uh, running, right? Running or sprinting. I equate that with suffering. And when I equate certain things with suffering, I'm going to feel greater resistance to it. And when I was running back then, when I was marathon training, I was always injured. And I realized this. I really realized just like the amount of times I was injured. It was because I equated running with suffering. If I didn't suffer, then I probably wouldn't achieve the things that I want. I was creating these injuries. I mean, first of all, I kind of refused to do knee strengthening exercises. And second, yes, like I was creating these injuries onto myself simply because I didn't strengthen my acts, because I equated like every single running practice with suffering, and like every single practice should be so difficult that I outdo myself every single time. And sadly, that sort of mindset of like always pushing myself led to me being restrained, literally physically restrained to keep running. Like I was heavily injured and I could not run. And to this day, I think my knee still isn't the best shape. Let me put it that way. The more you see something as suffering, the greater the resistance to it. When it came to planking, however, my mind was sort of in a different place. And I have all of these people who are planking with me. They say, like, you are killing your body. Or, like, even when my mom sometimes see me do these kind of planks, she will be like, this isn't a healthy amount of planking you should do for your body. I'm like, I'm great. Like, I know my body, right? And sort of these ideas that, like, when you're physically training yourself, you are hurting your body, you're killing your body. And I've noticed that before we get on our knees to plank, I sort of have an idea of who's going to make it to the end and who's not. And how I know is the people who would say things such as, this is impossible, they would usually not last. People who say things like, this is hurting my body cannot handle this, they usually don't last the entire way. But usually the people who are like, this feels so good. I feel my core feels so good. And I just like, every time you do planks or ab exercises, like yes, you train your mind to think, I am doing my abs, my core a favor right now. They are so strengthened. And usually, I know that these kind of people are going to make it to the end of the challenge. And I just know that. The people who don't have sort of the right mindset to get into this challenge usually don't make it to the end of the challenge. The world sort of has it backwards. The world kind of sees progress as incremental, right? Or how can I slightly improve my planks? Can I do 15 seconds longer? Most people's ceilings stop at minute 2, minute 3, and they don't think about expanding it. And it's fine if you're just satisfied. Because me personally, I was, stuck at minute 5 of the plank for like a month. So the entire month I was at minute 5. But I'll come back to this later because this was so necessary. Yes, you can have incremental improvements for a little while, and then you sort of hit your ceiling at maybe like not your best, but not the worst. But you not trained your mind to expect results that blow your mind. And this is very exciting. I think that's the exciting part of goal setting, especially for the new year. Why most New Year resolutions fail. Okay, I can't speak for other people, but maybe I can speak for myself. Is that I haven't made enough progress in my goals that is mind blowing to me. And maybe the reason why I've not achieved the results that I want is because my goals are too small, usually. Okay, I spoke on point 3 for a very long time now, so let's move on. So, sort of back to the point of why I'm so glad that I was stuck at 5 minutes, 5 minute planks for a month or for a month and a half. I can't remember, it's been way too long. And I'm so happy about that. If let's say, society teaches you that you need to always hit new targets and new sort of big number goals, right? But at that point of my journey to the 15-minute plank, right, I was feeling like I other people see as like maybe stagnation, but I was like, actually, like, I want to stay here right now. I want to stay at 5 minutes. I'll stay here. And I didn't have a good reason back then, like why I wanted to stay at 5 minutes, because like if you can do 5 minutes, then you can do 8 minutes. But I sort of stayed at 5 minutes for a very long time. And now I'm so glad that it happened, because for me, that was me training my body to catch up to my mind. And that's why years and years later, it's been what, like 7 years since high school, and you can tell me to do a plank on the floor right now, and 5 minutes is the baseline for me. Even though, like, right now in my life, okay, I've not been using my core as much. Right now, if someone asks me, you say you can do a 5 minute plank, do it right now, I still can, because 7 years ago, 5 minutes became my new baseline. Now let's say, like, if 15 minutes became my new baseline, it wasn't just a one time I did it, hooray, let's celebrate the 15-minute plank. I did it consistently every single day for months and months. 15 years later, maybe, like, I could still do a 15-minute plank. And that is so mind-blowing. I was thinking about, like, why that is the case. My body was still sort of catching up to that. So my mind decides it's a goal, it's achievable, and my mind allows my body to be able to hold a 5 minute plank. But then, like, because my body is sort of catching up, still catching up to that 5 minutes, I it needed longer time to be able to set that as a new baseline, so that the next month I'm like, 5 minutes is my new normal. Let's do 8 minutes. Let's like, and then 8 minutes sort of became like my baseline. But it didn't take me very long to go from 8 minutes to 10 minutes, like 10 to 15 all of a sudden, because like this is part of the process. And sometimes when you sort of reach and you think you've hit your ceiling, you're actually not hitting your ceiling. You're actually just giving your body sort of the time to play catch up, so that your mind can go for that 15-minute mark. So that's all I have for today. And I hope that this was helpful. Happy New Year's. Happy goal achieving. Happy achieving all your goals. I will see you in my next video.